assignment problems for today. The solution for one of the questions from your assignment problem. Yeah. So we have discussed question number 1, we have discussed question number 2, we have discussed question number 3. Now coming to object-oriented programming. File name. Okay. So this is the question. If you remember, we have already discussed the circle problem, right? We had already discussed this circle problem, and I will again discuss that circle problem. We will see what were the limitations, what were the issues, and how to fix it. Okay. So first thing first. First, like we will go for this circle problem. So this was your circle problem, if you remember. You have a two-dimensional space. A circle is there. You have coordinates x, comma, y, and the radius r for this circle given to you. You need to calculate area. You need to calculate perimeter. You need to calculate capital D, which is like a distance of center from the origin. So that is this distance. Okay. And then you need to calculate small d, which is distance from center to the circumference. This distance, that red distance. Okay. So what we had done so far. So the first approach that we took is we took scripting style of coding, where we said x comma y comma r equals to input, and then we took some values, some user input, and then finally we did all the calculation for this. That was our first approach. Okay. Then we realized like it is better to have functions so that we have full control. Like if we are not writing one monolithic one page code, like in one page only I'm dumping all my executables, rather than I'm writing some functions to do my thing. So the benefit of using function is you are making your code more modular. Tomorrow, if there is some change in your code, tomorrow if there are some changes in your code, you need not go and touch everything in your code. What you can do is you can just go to that function and make those changes. So that was our another style of writing code. So what we did, let me just quickly write it 1 second. So what we did is we did something like this, right? First we took the input. Okay, right. So first we took input, and then we said definition of area. Some parameters we took, then perimeter. Okay, then calculate capital D and calculate small d. So these are all the functions that we tried. Correct? We defined all these functions. Okay. Now what, even though we did that, and then we also handled some exceptions, some outlier or maybe not valid scenarios, as in when radius is greater than 0, less than 0 or equals to 0, it cannot be a valid circle. So I used that assert statement to handle it. But there were some logical flaw in that code. Okay. And you will need to identify that. You will need to help me to identify those flaws. Okay. I will be giving you hints, and you uh, tell me like whether I'm correct or not correct. Okay. So the first flaw which I think, first logical flaw which I think is, at a given point of time, just forget about object oriented programming now. Okay. Just assume for the sake of discussion, we are not going to consider object oriented right away, but let's see, if you have such style of writing code, your code is going to work on just one circle at a time, right? One circle at a time. That is, in a two-dimensional space, you are saying that there will be only one circle possible. Every time you want to work on another circle, you will need to take some other user input. If you are not taking in a list or something, so don't give me those answers like we will take a list or something. Don't do that. Simple, like I am taking user input. So that means in a two-dimensional space, I am saying that I can have only one circle at a time. I cannot have more than one. Am I right or am I wrong?
Right, sir.
Right. So that was one issue, one circle. Okay. Second issue is I do not have any control over these X, Y, and R values. User can input any data, as in like any data, and it is going to hit my code. And in my code, I can do further validations. That is true. I can do some additional validations in my code, but the user is entering my code with some unwanted data or incorrect data. That is not right. I should not be giving that much flexibility that you enter with incorrect data in my code or in my logic, and then I will be handling in my logic that those things. There should be a wall, there should be a firewall, there should be something like before entering the actual logic or the actual code, there should be a layer of filter that you should add. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir. Right.
Right. So no filter. No filter, no exceptions. That way, like the user is entering incorrect data, it is hitting my logic. There I can make additional changes. But let's try to add another filter there. Another filter which will kind of validate the data, and say like whether the data that the user has entered is correct or not correct. Okay, based on that, it will run further logic or whatever is there. So that is another. Third is when you are writing this code, all this code is related to circle, right? All this code is related to circle. We can have this in one file, but is there any other structure, any other container that I'm kind of encapsulating this entire code? See, these parameters X, Y, R is an attribute to this circle, related to this circle. These functions are related to these circles. So is it not wise to have all these parameters and all these methods in some container form, so that I can say everything of this is related to the circle,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yeah.
Everyone agrees to this? When I say Amit, my hands, legs, head, everything should be with me. They should be together, encapsulated. There should be some kind of encapsulation. They should be in a capsule format. Everything should be inside a capsule, inside a container, right? Encapsulated. Logical, correct? It makes sense in a way as in like tomorrow if there is some issue in your code, you exactly know where I should go and make the changes, where I should go and debug the code. If you don't have such kind of modularity in your code or fragmentation in your code, it will be very difficult to manage the code. You are getting my point? Everyone agrees with these statements or not?
Yes, sir.
So there is no
Yes,
short
sir.
of, yeah, okay, no short of encapsulation kind of thing. Okay. And going forward, there will be many more that we will be discussing with this problem. Maybe let me start uh, solving for this, like how you create classes and everything. I'm not sure like whether every one of you knows about I mean have just brief introduction or basic idea of object oriented programming. Anyone like who is hearing this word or term the first time? Okay, fair enough. Those who don't know, let me try to explain this entire object oriented programming through this circle problem. Okay, so what I will do is in object-oriented programming, what you need to do, you first need to create a class. You have some prototype, some design, some plan, and then every time you are creating a replica of that. So that is what a class is. So basically, I will be creating a blueprint of circle here. So what I will say, class circle, okay, then give this colon, that means I'm starting my circle definition. Okay, now here I will say def double underscore init double underscore, and then I will say self. I will explain all these keywords whatever I'm writing, don't worry about it, but for now just remember like this is what we do. Okay, self, then you give all the parameters that will be required to define this circle. So what are those parameters? X, Y, and R. Correct? Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I will explain every keyword over here, but for now, just basic program I'm writing. So just assume that this is what you need to do. Then you start a give a colon, that is like your, this is definition of your init. Okay, init is initialization. I'm initializing. Okay, now I will say self dot x equals to x, self dot y equals to y, and self dot r equals to r. Okay, now within this function I will create my rest of the functionalities for this circle. So I will keep it simple. I will just define for area and perimeter, rest of the things you can do. So def area. Now I will just give self here. I will explain this. Let me just write it first and then I will explain, and then return 3.142 multiplied by self dot r multiplied by self dot r. Okay, another function is def perimeter. Again I will take self and then I will say return 3.142 multiplied by 2 pi r, right? So 2, okay, 2 pi and self dot r. Okay, now if I execute this, so I have created a blueprint of circle. To actually create the circle, there is a question, sir, can we have more than one class in same .py file? Yes, you can have. I will discuss that also. I will discuss that as well. Okay, I will discuss that. So I have created the blueprint. Now let's create the actual object. So blueprint is not something which is tangible. It's just a prototype. Okay, now to create the actual object, I will say C1 equals to circle. And here I will pass all the parameters required by circle. So what are the parameters? Self that I have given here, self that I have given here. I will explain that. This is not part of the parameters. Anything coming after this is your parameter. So there are 3 parameters for circle, and they are X, Y, and R. So let's take 3, 2, 1. Now I have actually created a circle. C1 is the actual circle that I have created in a 2-dimensional space. Now let's understand what if, like whatever I have written here, what it is doing. Okay, so this is my class, this is my blueprint. Okay, and this is how I'm creating the actual object. Let's understand this way. When I say human, okay, is human a real object? Yes,
No, sir.
no?
No, sir.
No, it's a blueprint. It's a template. Now from human, if you create Amit, Amit is a real object. Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
human will have some kind of blueprint. Okay. We will call something as human who is having 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 1 nose, something that way, like whatever. basic definition of human, whatever is there. He or she will have emotions, other things, whatever features you can think of, whatever attributes you can think of, that will be your blueprint. And from that, you are going to create a real object. So circle here is not a real object, it's a blueprint. And C1, I'm creating actual circle. Now what happens is, the moment you call this circle 321, it will go and check if there is any class with the name circle and takes 3 parameters, that is 321. And yes, it is there. And the moment you call this function is getting invoked. You remember, like, you can call any function only by calling that function area, and then you pass the parameters. But this is that function called definite is called the moment you create an object. The moment you create an object, that this definite function gets called. Okay, we can see the flow through some print statements as well. We will do that. Okay, now what will happen? 321 will be coming here as x value, y value, and r value. And here you are saying self.x equals to x. That is, okay, let's understand this. When you invoke this line number 3, you can think that a real object is getting created somewhere in the memory. Okay, and what will happen, that it will assign, like it will add all these attributes. It will add x, it will add y, it will add r to this object. And then I'm saying, and this object is called as self. This object is internally identified as self by this blueprint. To the outside world, it is C1. To the world of circle, or to the internals of circle, it is defined by self. Now this is self, and you have tied like x, y, and r. So you are here in this 3 lines, you are saying self.x. That is, like, you are assigning a variable x to self, and you are saying self.x equals to whatever you passed here. That is your 3. Similarly, self.y equals to 2, and self.r equals to 1. Apart from these assigning these variables, it will also read all the functions and it will attach it here. It will not call it, it will just attach it to this self object. Okay, everything will be attached. Now, so the first thing that we were discussing, right? They are not kind of encapsulated when you are not using object-oriented programming. Now see the difference, everything is encapsulated. When I say a circle will have these attributes and these methods. They are all bound together. They are all together. All the attributes, all the features, all the methods, all the actions that he or she can do, everything is bound together, encapsulated. Clear? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's add print statement. Yes, so okay, so there is one Subrajyoti Behra. Okay, let me explain again. Okay, let me explain again. So what I'm saying is, okay, let me add some print statements here to make it more clear for you. Print 1. Okay, print 2, print 3, and print 4. Okay, now let me run this code, and let me run this code. So what is printed? 1 and 2 are getting printed. I'm just trying to make my point, like whatever point I had made initially, like the moment I call this line 5, whenever I'm invoking circle and then passing parameters, this init function is getting called, which is true, right? Init function got called, print 1, print 2 got printed, but area and perimeters, they are not getting called. They are just tied together with that self, and they are not getting invoked or called. So that's why 3 and 4 didn't get printed. But Let me explain that self thing again. So you have a circle blueprint, okay? You have a circle blueprint, and from that blueprint, you are actually creating an object. So the moment you call line number 5, you can think that in two-dimensional space, there is some location where an actual circle is getting created. With this line number 5, assume for now that there is actual circle which is getting created. And how this circle will get created? This circle inside this blueprint is called as self. Okay, and then it will start attaching all the features and methods to this object self. So here it will assign X, Y, and R. And in this line of code, what I'm saying, self.x equals to X. This X is coming from where? This X is this. This X is coming from where? Here. So self.x here I will assign 3. Similarly, I will make it 2. And this one will be 1. Apart from that, I will also attach the functions area and perimeter. I'm not going to call these area and perimeter functions, but I will attach to this object self. So this is how self works. This is how the functionality of self you can think of. Self is an object. Like when you create a class, when you create a blueprint, you will create an object. To the outside world, that object will be called as C1. But within this blueprint, it will be called as self. Subhrajyoti, is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Sure, right?
Sir,
Yes,
as
sir.
you have said that when we are calling circle 3, 2, 1, then all the functions are called. Then
No,
why it is not printing?
I didn't say that all the functions will be called. I said def init will be called, and these functions will be just bound to the self but not getting invoked. It will be just bound, it will be just attached, but will not get invoked.
Okay, sir.
You got it, right?
Yes, sir.
It will just get attached to this object but not called. That is how it works. Okay.
Sir, is it like this keyword from Java?
Which one? Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Okay, sir.
So this is how you define your circle. Now you can say, like, let's say I want to call the area method on this circle. So on what circle I want to call it? I want to call it on 3 to 1, the one object that I created. So I will say object name dot function name. If I run this, I will get 3.142. And similarly, if I say C1 dot C1 dot perimeter, it will give me the perimeter. Why I'm getting 2 values? Okay, this 4 and everything is getting printed. That's fine. Okay. So you are getting the idea, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is how a class works in Python. Any questions? Just give it a minute. Now I can have multiple circles at a time. I can say C2 equals to circle, let's say 2, 2, 3, and 2. I can have another circle, C3 equals to circle. I can have as many circles I want. I can just create from this blueprint, and let's say give this 4, 2, and 3. So now I have 3 circles at this point of time, and to calculate the area of C1, I will do C1 dot area. To calculate the area of C2, I will do C2 dot area. To calculate the area of C3, I will do C3 dot area. Everyone is with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no, guys.
Yes,
Everyone
sir.
understood. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
everyone understood, right? Okay. 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 Now, few points I just want to add here. Okay. Uh, so when you call these circles, some of the points that we were discussing, that you do not have control over like what values are going in your logic and code. Let's try to handle that. Like if you are coming from other programming languages, you might have heard about, like if you have worked on Java, you might have heard about getter and setter methods. Okay. Uh, Usually as a developer, like as a student, we always just do, if we are using some IDE like Eclipse and anything, we simply create variables and then we do getter and setter method, but we do not actually understand why we are using getter and setter method. What is the reason behind it? So I will be discussing that. And the second thing is, if you are not coming from Java and if you are not able to understand that, that is good. That is really good. Okay. We will, because it will help you to understand some of the concepts that I will be discussing in Python. With Java, guys will find it little difficult. Okay. So if you have, if you are not aware about that getter and setter method, that is fine. Okay. But how getter and setter method works, let me give the idea, basic idea behind that. Okay. So here what I'm doing is I am calling these circle method, like this calling this circle class to create an object, and within this I'm they're doing self.x equals to x, self.y equals to y, self.r equals to r. So I am giving direct access to that object. So the object which is getting created, the user having that flexibility to directly make the changes. What on the other hand getter and setter method will help you to do is, the getter and setter method, like you will create, instead of writing the code this way, you will create functions. Okay. You will create functions, and in this function you can add additional logic, as in you can say if login is valid, or if the user is admin, something, that kind of validation you can put, then only allow him to set the value or to get the value. As in, see, I created this circle, one second. I created this circle C1, okay, C1 dot area. Now I can say C1, I can say C1 dot x3. I have direct access to these variables. C1 dot y equals to 2, C1 dot r equals to 1. I have direct, even I can set it this way, C1 dot r equals to 4. Now if I call the area, C1 dot area, see this, it got changed. It's 50.272. Okay, I will need to run this first. See, 50.272. So the point I'm trying to make here is, you created an object with radius 1, and somewhere some hacker or some hacking happened and you change the radius to something else now. This is not right, correct? So I'm not sure, like if you have watched that movie Dawn. Okay, in that initially Shah Rukh Khan was some villain or something, and then he, somewhere in the middle after the interval, he changed it with some other person. Not right. You should not allow that. Okay, so this is not correct. This hack should not be allowed. We need to handle this. Even let's say some of the data which are there, like employee salary, let's say, it should not be accessible to everyone. There should be some kind of validation. If you are an admin, if you are like manager, then only you can see my salary, otherwise not. So C1.R, when I'm saying, I'm just saying C1.R, it is giving me the value 4, but I have not done any validation whether I am allowed to see this value or to fetch this value or not. I'm not sure. I don't know. So this is not allowed. Also, setting of the values is not allowed. Although you created a circle object with 3 to 1, and let's say somewhere you changed it to something else, minus 55. Not correct. This is these things are not right. So to handle that, we have this something called as getter and setter method. So what you will do is, let me just copy this whole thing again. And here I will create some more functions. I will refine the code more going forward. This is not the right way of doing things in Python, but let me do it to explain the concept first. Okay. So def get R, let's say, and then if when I'm saying get R, I will just give self as the parameter, and then I will say return self dot R. Okay, one point that I forgot to mention is, so if you see here in these functions area, I'm not passing radius or anything as parameter. Like initially when you were creating this functions area, you must be passing radius as a parameter, right? Here. You remember that? Like when you created area functions, you must have passed some parameter radius, and you might have used that one in your logic. Here I'm not passing, I'm just passing self, which kind of makes sense, right? Because my self object has everything. It has X, it has Y, it has R, it has area function and perimeter function also attached or hooked to this object. So if I just pass self, everything else is available to me. So I can say self.r to fetch the radius value. I need not pass it explicitly to my function. Please keep yourself on mute if you're not talking. Okay. So, okay. 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 So a radius, I need not pass it explicitly anymore. I can just pass self and everything will be available. That's why I'm doing here self. Every time I'm passing self, nothing else. Okay. So that was one point that I missed. So now what I will say is get of R. I know that I'm trying to fetch radius. So I will just pass self here to this function. And then I will say return self.r. Now I can add here some additional if then else logic. Let's say I can say if admin double equals to true or something, some kind of logic I can write here, and then only return self. Otherwise give an error, not authorized. I can add all those functionalities here in this code now. Getting my point?
Yes.
But to keep it simple, let me not add these logics here. Okay, I will just keep it simple. I hope that you guys understood why we are using getter and setter methods. Okay, so I will not add those additional logics. I will simply have def r return self.r, and then I will say def set r, another method to set the value of r, and here I will pass self and one more value r because I want to set it. So this will be required, and then I will say self dot r equals to r, and now instead of this here I will call this function. So I will say self dot set r, and I will pass the parameter r over here. Yeah, let me explain what I have done so far. Okay, I have created this blueprint of circle. This def init, this is for initialization. This is for initialization. Okay, and I was discussing the importance of getter and setter method. Okay, when you use getter and setter, so basically when you are saying I will only allow to access some of the variables if you have some level of privilege or some level, some kind of rights, admin rights or something, then only I will be giving you access to these data. That is what all those logics can be added in this get method. Similarly, to set the value, I can have additional logic added. I can say, okay, if radius is less than 0, do not add it. Do not attach that radius to that circle. Do not create an object with that radius. So all those logics, all those functionalities I can add in this set R method. Okay. Now, initially I was doing self.r equals to R. Now I'm saying self.r equals to, I'm calling this function set R. So directly I'm not setting the value here. Directly I'm not setting the value in the initialization method, but I'm calling this function which will invoke that additional logic that you have added here and then set the value. Just add print statements, it will be more clear. Okay. So here I will say print 1. Okay. Here I will say print 2. Here I will say print 3. And then here let me say print 4. Okay. And let me also add print 5. Yeah, that should be good enough. Yeah. So now if I create circle object, what will be the output? Yeah, tell me, what will be the output?
Three will be printed, 4 will be printed.
What will get printed? First, what it will get? It will print
3,
3. Then
4,
4,
okay. Then
1,
1.
1.
Then
5.
5.
anything else?
No, sir.
Now, everyone, can you just validate this? Can you think and let me know, like just run through this code, see this print statements or this index or the numbers which I have written over here and compare this and see like if you are able to understand, the flow, and let me know if you have any questions. Is it clear to everyone or are there any questions?
So I have one question.
Yeah, tell me.
In the chat, sir, I've said.
Okay. Okay. Sir, do we have to assign again write self.r, self.set in init method? I will explain that. Okay.
Sir, self is a reserved word or as it is?
Self is a reserved word. For now, just consider it as a reserved word. Okay. Self is something, I mean, within scripting language or you can have self as variables as well, but in class and everything, you assume that it is a reserved word. So internally for the class, self will be the name of the object. Self will be the pet name within the class for the object. To the outside world, it will be C1, C2, C3, whatever, but to the class, it is always going to be self.
Sir, when will the get R will be invoked in the this function?
Nowhere. I'm
Second-
not using it. I'm just I just added it to explain few of the things, but I have not used it yet.
So then what is the use of this get R in this?
I will explain that. Okay. I will explain that. But so far the flow is clear to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, get R and set R is keyword or it is a function name?
It is a function name. It is a custom function name that I have created.
Okay, sir.
It is a custom function name. You can have anything, any name here.
Sir, how can we use set.r in other functions? Means it is defined in init and we used in area and perimeter. Sir, how can you use?
Good question. We can do that. Let me explain. Let me come to that. Like the first question, what is the use of getar? Why we have written this here? Okay. Let me explain that first, and then I will come to your question.
Okay.
So You remember, like when I created the circle initially, I was saying, so oops, okay. If you see the output 3415, which is correct, yeah. Okay, so if you remember, once after creating the object, initially I was saying C1 dot R, and then it was giving me the output. You remember that? C1 dot R. So whatever circle that I created here, okay, 1 second. Okay, forget about R now. For let's say C1 dot X, it was giving me output, correct? It was giving me output, right? But now if you see C1 dot R, no output for me, because directly I don't have access to R now. I don't have access to R now. Okay, through get R I can do that. So if I do C1 dot get R, ideally I should be getting the values. See why I'm doing this? Now I can add here additional logic here. I can add some validation. I can add validation. And when the user is calling with some user access, it will get first validated whether that user is authorized to access that data or not. And after that validation, after that authorization, after that authentication, then only he will get access to that values. That is the idea. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, to set the values, if you want to set the values, if you remember, initially I was saying C1 dot R equals to 5, and I was able to make the change, right? Although
Yes.
although I created the circle with radius 1, now I am resetting it. I am changing it to 5, which was not correct. But now the user will not be able to do this. Even if I do this and then I say C1 dot area, okay, again something happened. Okay, anyways, C1 dot R will be able to set the value. I will discuss that later, like how to handle that, because this C1 dot R is still allowed. You need to make it private, and we have not discussed that private and everything yet. But the idea here is, so ignore this example that I gave you. I have not made it private or anything right now. That's why I was able to set it. But the whole idea is to set the values. I will need to do C1 dot set underscore R and then pass the value 5 here. Then only I will be able to see print 1 because it is going in this set R and printing this from here. So in this function, it is setting the value, and here I can have all the authorization, authentication, and validation. So I'm saying allow the users to set the values only if he or she is authorized to do that. Otherwise, don't. That is what I'm trying to say here.
Sir, if will not declare any private or protect, then by default these variables are public.
Yeah, I mean, they are accessible, right? There is something called as default, but again, you are talking more in terms of Java, where you have like default, public, private, protected, other kind of things, other kind of access modifiers. 1 second, Alexa, please stop. Okay, so here, on the other hand, scenarios are little different. We have something called as private, and we have something called as protected. Rest everything for now you can consider as default.
Sir, how to print the value of R?
How to print the value of R? This is how I'm doing. Initially, I was saying C1 dot R to print the values. Now I will be saying C1 dot get underscore R. I will call the function. Direct access I will not have. So if you see here, C1 dot get R, it is printing 2, which is coming from this print statement. And then it is returning the value for R, which is 5, which I set here. Okay, the point I'm trying to make here is, please try to understand this point. Initially, when I was initializing, all I was saying is self.x equals to x, self.y equals to y, self.r equals to r. But there, I was not having any control. Like what, even if the user is not authorized, I'm not adding those logic. Even if the user is not authorized, he can access the values. Even if he or she is not authorized, he can reset the value or he can set the value. I want to control those things by writing these functions. And instead of directly saying self.r equals to r, I'm saying self.r equals to self dot the function name that I have written here. So directly don't set the value of r. Call this function and then set it.
Yes, sir. Why do we have to write the self.r again in the init?
Where? In init method, self.r, why we have to write it again? You may not want to write it. You can directly have this. You can just remove this, but we will need to tweak this little bit. I mean, but that is a valid point. Okay, I made a mistake there. You should not be writing self.r equals to that whole thing. Better to have this. Okay, this will also work. This will also work. Okay, this will also work. You are right. I should not have done that. That was incorrect. Okay. In initialization, I initialize. Okay, all the parameters which will be there, all the attributes of the object, I will be assigning some values to them. Okay. With use of getter and setter method, I'm using this term getter and setter method, but in Python, we do not have something called as getter and setter. It is coming from Java. But to explain it is more easier. So I'm using these functions getter and setter just to have more control. That unless and until you are authorized or authenticated, you will not have the access for the data to read it or even to modify it. So all those validations and authorization I will be adding in these functions. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Still, I feel that you might have some confusion. Go through these recorded videos once again. Okay. And today's assignment problem is this circle problem, where like you will need to do similar thing. Okay. Try to do as much as possible. As in, like here, I have just written self.x equals to x. Use a getter setter method. Don't directly use this self.x equals to x, self.y equals to y. Okay. Use getter and setter method. Let me end the class today with one issue with this style of writing code. Okay. And then I will discuss that in tomorrow's class. So the issue here is Python supports this self.x equals to x and self.y equals to y and self.r equals to r functionality. Let's say I, as a developer, coded in this way because Python supports this. I can do this, right? I coded in this way, and many users, let's say all of you, started using my code in some way. You are using some other functionality, but you are just using my code. Okay, you are importing my code and you are using it. Tomorrow there is some requirement change. I found that there is some kind of hack people are doing, and I want to add more validation there to get the value and to set the value. What I did, instead of doing self.x equals to x, I directly added functions here. But my users are not aware of these functions, right? That instead of, like, if you remember, I was saying c1.x and I was able to access the values. I was saying c1.y equals to 5 and I was able to set the values. Okay, but now automatically, suddenly, all of a sudden, I have added all these functions. The programs for my users, like who are using my code, all of their programs will start failing, right? All of these programs will start failing. That is one issue. Even if I tell them, boss, I have like now from now onwards, do not access the data directly by using c1.x, but use this function. That is kind of extra overhead for my users, right? I don't know like how they have used my code or how complex their code is. I can't directly ask them to change their code, right? It will be difficult for them. So this is not, so there are some challenges if you can think a little bit, right? Because Python supports this style of coding, and suddenly all of a sudden I cannot add functions here. I will need to make this code some way backward compatible. Okay, some way backward compatible, as in if the user is still using c1.x, still these validation methods will get called from getar. If user is saying c1.y equals to 5, still this is valid, but internally this function will get called. Okay, and this is we will be discussing in tomorrow's class. But you got the problem, you understood the problem, right? The issue with using this, like initially I used this way, and then I suddenly all of a sudden I created functions. You understood the problems it will cause, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So go through these videos. Code is here in front of you. Just play with it a little bit. Take some different examples. Create some different circles. Try to access the values. Try to set the values. Calculate the area. Calculate the perimeter. Play with with this whole code a little bit, and you will get more clarity. Okay. And same problem is there in your assignment as well today. Try to solve that. And maybe for everything, write clean code as in like for self.x equals to x, although I have written here, you use a getter and setter method. Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay. Okay, that's all for today.